Welcome to Honey Do Me.
I'm Emma.
And I'm Cass.
And this is the first time we're introducing ourselves, and I feel like it's really fun.
Yeah. We went away from the pre-recorded to give you the real, the raw. If you haven't been here before, we are a podcast dedicated to helping you feel good in your body, love yourself, but most importantly, have amazing sex.
Mm-hmm. So get a good old fucking.
Yep.
Welcome.
A good old ass fuck.
If you want.
If you want.
If that makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we bring on experts, ask all the embarrassing questions, overshare.
Mm-hmm.
All the goods.
Yep.
How are you?
I'm sweating through my shirt. How are you?
Sweating through my crotch. How are you?
Sweating through my shoes. How are you?
Sweating down my ass. How are you?
Sweating down my back. How are you?
Sweating up my cooch. How are you?
So if I say sweating out my nose, it just sounds like my nose is running.
Well,
but I mean, none of this sounds good. So
none of it sounds pretty.
Yeah.
But we're not here for the pretty.
We're obviously not here for the pretty.
That's rude.
It's for me today.
I am obviously not here to stun you with my looks.
Not you. You're always stunning.
Oh, thank you.
Me. But
I mean,
you would get it if you were watching us on YouTube, which you can also do.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
We're literally everywhere.
Except for some places.
Always everywhere. Everywhere all at once.
And you know where I've always wanted to go, but never known how to get there?
Nevada.
That and testicles. I do technically know how to get there, but like how to get there and get jiggy with them and like get on their level like spiritually. You know what I mean?
Spiritually. Vibrate on this same energy.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Like I've never been able to like see eye to eye and been like, you get me.
You get
and
me.
I get
more importantly, I get you.
Mm-hmm. So we thought, why
not? I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gotten tips here and there about things to touch or it's
tickle
okay.
In the taint.
Yeah, exactly.
Tickle in the testes.
Mm-hmm. But now we wanted to really and figuratively get in there.
Yeah, grab life by the balls.
Mm-hmm. By the balls.
By the balls. Grab my partner by the balls.
Enjoyably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Just kidding.
But that includes toys. That includes sensations. That includes using your mouth, which is exactly where I was going. Thanks for finishing that off.
You're welcome. Ha! Suck you off.
But I mean, all of the things that we didn't really like, we know you can play with the balls, but how do you play with the balls?
Exactly. I need a confidence boost when it comes to ball play. I talk about this in the episode. I feel nervous around them. I don't know what to do with them. They're sensitive. I'm sensitive, but not in the same way.
Not in the same way.
I needed the 411.
Yeah. I just didn't really know how to cup them both.
Yeah.
Or where to put them, what to do once they're in my hands.
How to get them in your mouth.
I mean, different sacks for different facts. I mean, I don't know where. There's just all different types of ball sacks as well, which do they lend themselves to different types of pleasure? Who knows? We'll find out, but
I just realized there's something we didn't talk about that I feel like I've brought up in past episodes, and I'm so sorry to our listeners for not bringing this up.
Okay.
Putting a ball sack in your vagina. Do you think that's possible? I'm not saying you want to, but I'm asking if it's possible. What about in your butt?
I'm
it has a base,
say it's possible, but I don't think it'll be enjoyable.
Why?
Because I feel like that's a lot of like shoving it in a coin purse type of situation.
I feel like if you could do some deep breaths and open up.
I feel like if you were shoving them in my vulva, in my vagina, it'd be fine. I'm worried about the balls.
Oh,
I'm worried about
the balls.
Poking
if I learned
balls.
one thing from this episode,
I'm not worried about
they're
the balls.
tougher than you think.
I mean, we do ask different places you can put them, and I think that's interesting enough to keep you around.
Yeah.
You, the listener, and you, Cass.
Yeah. So we don't talk about shoving them up your butt or shoving them in your vagina.
But maybe
I wonder if they were
day.
long enough. If you could shove them in your own butt.
Like ass balls. We saw those
but
at
like
the store.
they're yours. You know what I mean?
Shove your own balls in your butt.
Yeah.
Ask Jurgen.
There's no way that somebody hasn't tried that.
Hasn't tried to shove their balls up their butt. Yeah.
If people, I don't know. I just think there's some weird shit people have invented. Mm-hmm. And don't stare at me that way. You know I'm right.
You know what I pictured just now? Hot dog bunning your penis with your balls.
Ah, like a pillow.
Like a pillow. So like putting your dick in between the, maybe the balls don't come apart that far, but like
Isn't
between two balls.
A division sign?
Which I unfortunately had to figure out. Yeah.
Can you share?
I will share.
Candidly.
When my boyfriend and I were just becoming comfortable with each other and intimate, to show a little bit of our like quirky side, we were standing in my room and then he just pulled his pants up insanely high and said, I like to call this the division sign. And it's one ball and his penis on one pant leg, and the other ball in the other pant leg. But you pull it up so high that it makes a division sign and it's tight against the pants.
And you know, the first time you told me this was also one of the first times that we were all hanging out together.
Yeah.
I was meeting him. And Emma turned to him and said, I'm going to tell her what it is, but don't show her.
Because he kept doing it. Like,
we were in a very public place.
I know. But when it was just he and I and he was showing me for the first time, I was like 5 minutes later, I was like, okay, we have to go.
Mama gets it.
I get it.
I've never been good at long division.
That was good.
That's a compliment.
That was really good. Oh my God. So I really was nervous that he would be like, oh, you want to know what it is? And then pull up his pants really high.
Let me hoist my keisters.
Oh, hoist my keisters.
I don't know.
My bloomies.
My blooming onion.
I've never been good at long division. Oh my God, that's funny.
I have to do a plug for this fucking movie I watched with my sister and my husband really late at night for some reason. I think it's called Back to the Outback.
I knew you were going to say that movie.
Okay. There are so many fucking funny lines. I'm not a cartoon person. I generally don't like cartoons. I've been learning to like them more because I think it like helps me not think too much, and so it's like a stress-free calming thing.
Okay.
But they just have a lot of really good one-liners, and my bloomin' onions is one of them. And I was either super tired or it's a great movie.
Yeah, I did try to start it. I think I got really tired during it too.
That's fair.
And so I fell asleep, but it was funny.
It's just funny.
It was funny.
Anything's good with an Australian accent.
Show is. That was not an accent at all.
Show is.
Show enough. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's go into the balls. Mm-hmm. So I hope you enjoy. Grab a fistful while you're there.
Here's Jake Mossop.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jake Mossop, and I live in Canada. I'm a registered nurse up here in Canada. I live in Toronto. I've been nursing for almost 15 years, if you can believe it or not. I'm not that old. That's the scary thing when you're like, yeah, I've been working for this long.
Damn.
God, Lord.
I also have a master's degree in healthcare management, but my nursing career has taken me all over. I've worked in homeless healthcare. I've worked in acute care on medicine units. I've worked in primary care, and then I went back. I did my master's, so now I'm working in clinical management. And then I had this whole other career where I work in television. I was on an MTV show that aired on Logo in the US for a number of years, and I was an entertainment host on Entertainment Tonight. And now I mostly just do work in social media. I create videos for YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and I have this new series that I'm started called Sexplicit.
And it's fun.
It's on my TikTok, so you can go find it there at the Jake Mossop. But yeah, I love talking about sexual health, and of course, as a nurse, it's really important to me, as well as being a member of the LGBTQ plus community. More knowledge people have, especially what we're going to talk about tonight, like all that nitty gritty taboo stuff that no one else wants to talk about. It's so important to share, and knowledge is power.
Absolutely. I love a sex positive healthcare professional because sometimes it can be a little hard to find, unfortunately. But I think it's getting better and better. So we're really excited to have you here.
Yes. And we want to talk about a topic that is equally as important as everything you just rattled off that you are amazing at and do with your life. And we want to talk about testicle play. So very sophisticated and very, very important to society. So could you lead us in with some things to keep in mind? We want to dive so far deep into testicle play.
so far into the balls.
But just basic overlay of like what to keep in mind when you're going for the testicles.
No, totally. So as you might not know, or you do know, it depends who's listening. Men typically have 2 testicles. I did date a guy once who sadly went through testicular cancer. So he had 1 artificial testicle because now they'll do implants. Majority of men or anyone who identifies as male, biological male sex organs will have 2 testicles. They sit right underneath your penis. They're in these little sacs called your scrotum. The skin is very thin and there's a lot of nerve endings in there, so they can be super, super sensitive. And so when it comes to testicular play or playing with people's balls, some people are like hesitant because, as you know, when we see in movies or in like memes or those like viral videos, is if you get hit with a ball or kicked in the balls, it's very painful, right? So people are prone when it comes to playing with testicles, but it can also be equally enjoyable and add a lot of joy and pleasure to your sex life and provide joy to your partner. So you shouldn't shy away and definitely go for the balls.
Go for the balls.
I love it. Go balls, Steve.
Go.
I have a question that is a little off topic then. What does it actually feel like to get kicked in the balls? Like, my husband will be an asshole sometimes and make this joke. He's like, it's worse than childbirth, I'm sure. And I think he's kidding. Like, I know he's kidding in that scenario, but he also doesn't know what childbirth feels like, and neither do I. So I have like no reference.
Yeah. You definitely, where people say like you get sacked.
I've never heard that.
Oh, really? No? It's like a bro thing when I was like in the closet in high school and you would like try to hit your friends with a towel or like hit them intentionally there. What is the sensation? It's just kind of like, this like kind of like really bad pain where you're just like your stomach drops and it's like a really bad Charlie horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good reference.
Why do you feel it in your stomach?
I guess just the location, and it's just like this like stomach churning, like I don't know, you always just like clench your stomach maybe. I don't know if it's a scientific reason, but it's in that zone, you know.
I wonder if there's a lot of studies on getting kicked in the balls. I feel like it'd be hard to get participants.
Yeah. I guess that's true. Have you ever
a randomized control trial?
Yeah, exactly.
I did that once in high school. I need a guy in the balls. I don't even know why. It was so malicious. I don't even think he was doing anything really to like provoke me. Just kind of close and within my vicinity, and probably made a joke I didn't like, and so I need him in the balls, and then I ran away.
Oh my god!
And he went for it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in all self-defense classes, they just say, a male predator, just like need them in the balls. So.
Absolutely.
I sacked you, kid. Whatever.
Scream that.
But if you're going to do it in a sexual and pleasurable way, what I will say, and this is like the biggest thing, obviously, in most sexual acts is first, obviously, consent. It should be a consensual act. But to take that a little bit further is just communication is always so important, right? And so everyone is going to have different threshold for sensitivities when it comes to their scrotum and their balls, and the amount of pressure that they like to have down there. Some people can also be really ticklish when it comes to their scrotum and their balls. So people might actually enjoy deeper, harder pressure, because if you're too light and soft, it could be too ticklish and like not, just like even on your neck, right? Like people are like, oh, if you're going to kiss me on my neck, kiss me on my neck. Like,
don't on.
Yeah, exactly. These little like pecky things, I'm just going to be like squirming. And the same can be true about men and their balls, is that like it just depends on the individual. So communication is very important. And I feel like you'll get a good sense of what they want if you're experimenting with that.
Right. So if you're going right in, gently and consensually, are you going to like go cup them? Are you starting on the front of the balls, on the back? Like, what is your first initial hand gesture if you're going for the balls?
Yeah, I mean, I would say go light and gentle to start. So yeah, like you can do like light cupping, just like have them in there in the palm of your hand. Sometimes like it depends like what you're doing sexually, but like say you're giving a hand job or your partner is masturbating, right? Sometimes it feels good just to kind of like hold them and like have like a light like either pulling or holding sensation. You can even like squeeze them, like again, that piece around communication, but like squeezing them sometimes can feel good, and then like pulling like downwards. And then sometimes people say like rolling them in your hand like dice, like doing like that. Like this is a podcast, so you can't see the motion my hand's making, but just think you have dice in your hand or like two crystal balls that you're like
like a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your horoscope is telling you.
Is there anything that could go wrong with that? Can I like move the balls over each other and like that would fuck something up? Or
like, can I break them?
Can I? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's too rough with them potentially. Like
don't do this type of
shake weight
Vegas
style.
Yeah, Vegas dice.
They're not gonna like intertwine and overlap and then like tie in a knot sort of thing.
Oh, I was picturing that happening. So thank you for putting words to it.
Like they're pretty secure in the sacs. Again, men and our anatomy can be very different. Like some men, when they're sexually aroused, their scrotums can tighten up and their balls can kind of like almost invert and go inside. Other guys, their testicles like are really droopy and they hang really low, and that's the whole thing with like porn and like that sound of like smacking, right? So it really depends on who your partner is and their anatomy and what's happening with their testicles. But you're not going to invert them or twist them around and
That's good to know.
That is really good to know.
Not going to pretzel up on me. Are there certain parts of the scrotum that are like more sensitive or extra pleasurable that tend to be better places to start? Or is it more of just like an overall sensitivity?
Yeah, I feel like, the further away from the base of the penis is going to be a little bit more sensitive at the bottom. But again, it's just, you're going to have to experiment with your partner and kind of ask and see. Some people say like, just do like gentle, like tapping or like grazing with your fingers. I always think like, if you do have longer nails, obviously be careful, but just like, when you that feeling of someone with long nails, like massaging your head, like kind of like doing that gently, like on someone's scrotum, like might feel really good to start. And some people incorporate like using like lube or oils, on the scrotum. So then you kind of like, it's not kind of like so much friction, like your hand and their ball sack, and like you're like, oh, like what if I?
A lot of skin.
Yeah,
a lot of skin in that situation.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna ask, because like if I'm going for the balls, then I've already been hooking up with the person for a minute or two for me. And so like if you're like kind of sweaty or whatever and the balls are sticking to the leg or your hand and like you're trying to like peel it off while also trying to be like sexy at the same time. So I was going to ask if like lube and oils are common with ball play, or if that would be like, what the fuck are you doing getting lotion to play with my balls right now?
No, I think it's totally like within gameplay to have some sort of lube, because it's going to definitely help things be smoother. It's going to help things glide a little bit more. You have to think of it almost like a massage oil. And to your point, like if you're using lube in that sense, then it's like it's easy to transition into a hand job, or like, use the lube in other senses of you having it out. But the thing with like, ultrasound gel or lube is like definitely like warm it up. You don't want to like squirt lube on someone's balls. It's like freezing cold. Shrinkage is real.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, pro tip.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any other like hand massage techniques that you would recommend? And I'm also thinking like one or two-handed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily need to, like, I mean, unless your partner's balls are really massive.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get both in there.
Or you've got really little hands, I guess.
Yeah.
It would depend.
I think for the most part, like like I said, with like the cupping and almost like a pulling kind of like motion can definitely feel good. But moving beyond hands, like you could definitely experiment with your mouth. If you're, performing oral sex. Again, like just like with teeth, be very caution focused in terms of like, because the skin is very thin and it is very sensitive. But yeah, you can use your tongue, your mouth, and then just kind of experiment with that and just, again, like ask, how does this feel? It should just be something where you kind of start off with one thing and then progress from there based on how your partner's feeling.
Mm-hmm. Is putting them in your mouth, is that teabagging? Is teabagging a general term, or is that a specific term when somebody term. Like you have to be laying down and then somebody's balls go into your mouth? Like steep? Like, yeah, like steeping. A literal tea.
Well, the scientific community defines teabagging as balls resting on your eyeballs.
Oh!
So it's when someone's lying down and then you teabag them as you rest their balls over the bridge of their nose and then their balls rest on your eyes. Because when they say like put tea bags on your eyes for like puffy eyes or like you have a cyst on your eyelid, you put like a tea bag. So that's teabagging. Putting balls in your mouth, that's just putting balls in your mouth.
I thought my mouth was the cup. I didn't realize my eye sockets were.
That is so funny. Such a different visual, first of all. And also, that would be a larger scrotum if both balls could fit over my balls.
So, do you make sure to keep your eyes closed? Or, like, could that be a butterfly kisses situation?
A tickle?
Like tickle them with your eyelashes?
Yeah.
Imagine the position that the person with the penis and the ball sack would have to be in. Like... Yeah.
The thigh strength?
Yeah, doing your squats. Well, that's the thing. Like, you never wanted to be the first one at a party to get drunk and pass out because then you'd get teabagged by your friends.
That is so funny. And I don't think the kids in high school that were saying, I'm going to teabag you, were picturing that. I don't know what they were picturing. They actually, no, they would do it like if someone was sitting on the grass and eating and they would jump over them and like hit them in the head with their crotch and they'd say, I just teabagged you. Yeah. So kind of closer to what you were saying, actually.
I mean, it feels a little less invasive to have it on your eyes than in your mouth.
Yeah.
But wow. Thank you for that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Having also like balls in your mouth or using your mouth. Again, you can do like use your tongue, different pressure. You could definitely like kind of like either suck on them or like suction, like hickey on them. There's lots of different things. The mouth is obviously, you can do a lot with your tongue and experiment with that. But yeah, it's definitely on the table of options.
Is the goal to get both in?
That was my next question. Yeah, I was like, is it all or nothing, or can I do one at a time?
Yeah.
I don't know if the goal should necessarily be both in your mouth. Like, I would definitely maybe one at a time, and then maybe work your way up to both. But yeah, I don't think that's the goal. Yeah.
Well, I would hate for it to be like a light bulb situation, because you know how you can get a light bulb in your mouth, but you can't take it out.
I have never tried that. Yeah.
I've never tried it. I've just heard, and it could be a myth.
A light bulb. Yeah, I mean, I would also understand that fear where it's like, I don't know how we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
They're stuck in my mouth, and we're just stuck.
This is how we are now.
I live here now, or you live here now.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. So what? Our whole hang up is that we don't know how to get into certain positions or situations. So getting a ball in your mouth feels a little awkward and uncomfortable, like I'm feeding it in, like how you put marshmallows in your mouth. You know, like I just don't know how like to get a ball in my mouth. Exactly, like a chubby bunny type of thing.
Yeah.
So what is like a nice way to lap a ball into your mouth?
What's a gracious way to intake a testicle?
I think when it comes to like playing with balls or testes play is like you can kind of think of it in three ways. One is like, if your partner's standing up and then you're kind of going down on them to provide oral, then they're just kind of, right at your face level. You can kind of play with them with your hands while you're, providing oral sex. You can just strictly focus on the balls with your mouth while they kind of masturbate. So that would be kind of like position number one. Second, which would be really easy, is like having your partner lie on their back, like in a bed kind of scenario, and you're either like 69ing or you're down near their genitals, or even just like while you're kissing, like putting your hand down and kind of like holding on to their balls again while they kind of like stroke their genitals. So that would be position two, just more like vertical, lying down. And then you can think of testicular play maybe in a way too of sexual position. So like while you're having penetrative sex, so say for example, your partner's lying on their back, you're on top of them, kind of like either reverse cowgirl or cow person, or like forward facing, then you can reach down and be playing with their balls or holding their balls while they're penetrating you and having sex. Same with like, like sometimes you'll like grab your partner's butt like while they're having sex. You can just think of testicles in that way. Like if they're doing doggy style, you can reach down in between and be holding onto them or tickling them, stroking them with your fingers while you're having sex. So I would think of it in those three ways.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I've found myself looking for the balls sometimes. I'm like, I am in reverse. I'm like, what else can I be doing like with my hands, But yeah, then I never really know necessarily what to do. And I'm like, does this feel good? And then I'm like turned halfway around facing them. And so I start to get a little lost in the motion of the ocean.
Any moment
just completely spinning around. How's it going back there? Scare the shit out of him.
So scary. You should practice that.
Yeah. It's almost Halloween.
Yeah.
I sure can.
Hello.
If a ball or two, so I'm thinking if two balls are in your mouth, it's kind of hard to like move your tongue maybe, or like do a lot. I've also heard like humming is like an interesting sensation. Is that like a real tip to hum with balls in your mouth?
Well, I mean, any sort of vibration, like whether you think like a sex toy or, vibration coming from your vocal cords, it's definitely going to provide some sort of stimulation. But it's interesting you bring that up because there's always things too that we're going around like, putting an ice cube in your mouth, like while you're doing it as well, like that cold, hot, adding that element of sensation into sex. But yeah, humming and that kind of like vibration, like low frequency, it's definitely going to provide some stimulation. And again, something that you can experiment with.
So interesting. Built-in vibrator right here.
Yeah. Just my vibrato.
Yeah. Level 1, but like not going to get to a level 10 there.
Yeah.
I had something in my head and then it left. You look like you were going to say something.
I was just going to go more on the temperature play. So would cold be a good sensation then? Like, I feel like cold, I thought you said could shrivel, and I don't want them to shrivel in my mouth.
Yeah, I want them to be there and plump. Again, I think the cold thing is just like, it's like rubbing an ice cube on your nipples or like, you don't want it there for prolonged periods of time, but just kind of that flash, maybe sensation is going to provide some joy for some people. Again, there's so many different spectrums. Some people, when it comes to playing with their balls, they might want you to really squeeze really tight or like pull them, kind of stretch them out really hard. And that might be pleasurable for someone. Whereas other people, might just want to take it light and slow. So I think, again, when it comes to like the hot, cold sort of thing, it's very individual.
Yeah, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but we had an episode on using ice during sex. And then I tried using ice on my partner and I really just focused on his balls. And he said it felt like he orgasmed multiple times, but he never like ejaculated. Right. So, I mean, I'm sure it's a spectrum and other people are not going to be into it, but this man was very into it.
This man.
So
they do say though that like providing stimulation to someone's testicles can lead to greater amounts of ejaculate. As we know, like sperm and semen and everything is produced inside your testicles. So playing down there does help and can increase the level of orgasm as well. So
is there a difference in terms of when somebody's hard versus soft, like how their balls feel? Not to like the person playing with them, but to the owner of the balls.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could think of it in another way. Like if you phrase the question, like when you're sexually aroused and you're erect, like what you want to have happen to you is going to come from a place of being super horny, right? When you're flaccid and you're not in that mood, then you might not like that. For example, some people might like their nipples pinched really hard while they're, masturbating or having sex because that feels really good. But if you just walked up to them in the middle of the day and they weren't sexually aroused and you clamped on their nipples really hard, they'd be like, what the hell are you doing? So in terms of like what your balls will feel like, will it be different? Again, some people, when, they're erect, their balls really tighten up. Others stay really saggy and really loose, like I said at the beginning of the interview. So it's just going to be partner dependent. But yeah, I would say the sensation they're going to get versus when they're flaccid versus erect will likely be different.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to move into the taint. Can we move to the taint?
One last thing I'll plug just as a healthcare professional when it comes to testicular play is the added benefit of doing it and incorporating it into your sexual life is you kind of have, not that you should never not go see your doctor, but it's good if your partner can go down there and check for things, right? If you have any lumps or things that weren't there or are there or that you're concerned about. So any sort of touching your body, your breasts, having a really good sense of your body, touching it, playing with it, and someone else is always good for preventative health measures as well.
Right.
That's a really
I actually
good point.
never knew what to look for testicular cancer. Like I know how to like kind of give myself a breast exam, but like so that you're looking for like lumps and
it would just be lumps down in the scrotum that weren't there before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Great tip.
Yeah.
So can we start off by first just explaining what the taint is and where it is?
Yeah. So the taint in the male and female, biological male and biological female anatomy is located in that little stretch. Some people it's a little bit longer. Some people it's shorter. Men is usually a little bit longer than women. But it's usually from biological male anatomy. It's between the scrotum and the anus. So it's that kind of little stretch in between. And for women, biological female anatomy, it's between the vagina and then the beginning of their anus. And so that's kind of the taint area. So the great thing about playing with the taint, especially for biological male anatomy, is that you can access externally the male prostate by applying pressure. So you're not going to get as much access as, going in the 2 inches into the anus, but you can by, providing kind of like massage or rhythmic, touching in that area, you can help stimulate a male G-spot. So play with the taint.
Play with the taint.
Is that like a multiple finger massage? Like what is an example of that? How that massage could possibly look?
Yeah, I feel like if you make an L shape with your hand and you think of your thumb resting kind of around the shaft of the penis and then curling your fingers down, you can kind of massage the taint. And so whether you're using one hand to masturbate your partner or they're masturbating, you can kind of just cup that area and with your fingers be massaging the taint. And you always want to think of going towards the belly button. That's where the prostate is. So whether you're having insertive, penetrative with your fingers in their anus or just on the outside, like massage up and always towards the belly button.
Okay. Is there any like sensation without pressure? Like is just like the skin itself sensitive or is pressure key?
If you're trying to stimulate the G spot, the pressure is going to be key. Because that's something that's internal to that area. When you were like a kid and you'd like rub your arm and be like, tell me when I get to the crease of your elbow, like close your eyes. I mean, any sort of like that light, like touching, obviously in that area is also going to feel very nice. Again, some people might find it very ticklish, but maybe when they're aroused, they might like that. So, and even if you're playing down there with your tongue, like that's a great place to lick, kind of stroke back and forth with your tongue. maybe like lightly at first, or apply like more pressure with your tongue. But yeah, that whole area is just like, it's going to be sensitive and ticklish and erotic.
That's so fun. It's like extra surprises as you keep going. It's like penis,
exactly.
balls, taint.
But just a whole U shape.
Just a whole pleasure. U of pleasure. Yeah, that's super fun. Is there go ahead. Is there like another tip or trick that we haven't touched on of like what should be brought up with like ball and taint play, I guess?
Well, the only other thing I would say I would add is like toys. Like toys can be a really good thing when it comes to like testicular play or even playing with the taint. So there are things like cock rings that kind of wrap around balls and kind of like add that pressure. There are really, I've never experimented with them, but there are cock rings and like rubber contraptions that do go around the balls as well as the shaft of the penis. And I can't really speak well to that because I haven't done enough research or know, but I think it's something that just plays with the pressure and keeps your balls like in a certain position. Again, as I was saying, some men, their balls kind of retract or go up. And so having that kind of, that ring around it keeps them down and low so you can play with them.
Like, not today.
Not today.
You ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But vibrators as well, again, can provide that stimulation, like a wand. But again, you probably want to start on like the lowest setting because you don't want to like go onto someone's testicle and be like, yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know why I completely forgot about using toys.
I know, I did
asking
too.
about toys.
Damn.
We almost always include that with literally every topic. We could be talking about books, and I talk about what toys could I use while I'm reading a book. That makes so much sense.
Maybe it's because we're kind of scared of the balls. I feel like I've been taught to just like my only reference has really been like, make sure you don't hit somebody in the balls. And so it's like my references, they're too sensitive to like even consider.
Right.
And then a lot of my vibrators are pretty intense. So I think maybe that's why I'm like,
Yeah. Also, cock rings have kind of, with the ball attachment, have kind of scared me. Like I guess I wouldn't know how to put them on without hurting someone. Is it like pretty like you can shove and move to get them up there? Like no, both of your faces told me no. So.
Follow the instruction manual when it comes to toys, always to begin with. Okay. You don't want things getting into things and lost in cavities, and you also don't want to like cut off too much circulation. So I would just say follow manufacturer protocols and instructions.
That's fair.
Both of your faces immediately told me what I needed to know about that question. Like, no, you don't do that. But rumbling, like that could be really fun, like rumbling toys.
I thought you meant like you.
I'm
like
rumbling.
If I rumbled.
No. But like, let's say we're having sex and I'm using a toy. If I'm done with the toy, I don't necessarily have to put it down. I can see if like that's something that would feel good to him. But I never thought about vibrating toys for the balls either.
There's probably a way to mutually use toys as well.
Yeah.
Like we have certain toys that you can mutually use with a partner that are vibrating.
Which one?
The little like bug-shaped one.
Oh, yeah. I guess that makes sense.
That one's a little specific, and that one would more hit the shaft. But I'm sure that there are ways that if you're just like holding something down there, move whatever you have to out of the way.
I want like a little sock that goes over the balls that vibrates. I feel like that would be fun.
Do you think there is one?
It's your mouth, and it's
it's attached to your face, Emma.
Something more expensive than that.
Something I have to pay for
than your beautiful face.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
But I think to your point, and just to reiterate to all your viewers and everyone listening, is like, don't be afraid, because it can be very pleasurable for your partner and for you. Like if you notice that it's something your partner likes and you're providing that pleasure, it's going to be stimulating for you knowing that you're getting them off. So go for it. Again, just really communicate. Start slow, start with certain things and kind of work your way up. And it can definitely heighten your sexual experience with your partner.
Love it.
Love it. I think that was a beautiful ender. Where can our listeners continue connecting with you after this episode?
Oh, they can find me on Instagram or TikTok. I'm at the Jake Mossop, THE Jake, and then my last name is MOSSOP, Mossop.
So you know how you said you forgot to ask about putting balls in your vagina and or butt?
Yeah.
I forgot to ask about gargling balls. Which I know is in your mouth, but I've heard of like gargling balls.
Does that mean you like swallow them?
I think that means you go in your throat with them. As you would.
You did ask about humming though, so I feel like that's a similar.
Yeah, I just like picture it more like tossing them down your gullet type of vibe when you're
sounds like swallowing.
Gargling balls. Maybe that's a good sensation. Maybe to get it like halfway there and like swallow. You don't know.
I know for me.
But it could be constricting.
I just don't think I like choking on things.
Yeah, I mean, me either. But I'm just saying, I wonder if, just as you've wondered if someone's tried to shove their own balls in their own butt.
But mine's fair.
Who are we? Who are we to say what's fair and not in this world?
I am to who say
there's only one
what's
judge,
fair
and that's God.
I'm God.
And she's right there. Walking past that, thank you, Jake Mossop, for being on the episode today. You are lovely and so fun to talk to.
Yes.
And thank you to our listeners for hanging out.
And if you want to thank us,
hang low.
Sure. Just swang your way over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify to rate, review, and subscribe to Honey Do Me. Go ahead and leave any balls you want in that written review.
Yeah.
We prefer it be kind, and we prefer it be true.
Yeah.
And we prefer to say I love you.
We're really musical today.
Yeah.
We got a sweat song. We got an I love you song.
I think Broadway is shaking in their boots.
I wouldn't be surprised if they've been tailing us for a while now.
They're knocking at, come and knock at my door.
Yeah. So if you don't hear from us next week, we are on Broadway. And you'll miss us.
Step aside, Leah Michelle.
Step aside.
There's new funny girls in town.
I want to be in kinky boots.
You don't get a choice.
Actually, if I wanted to be in anything, Cats. Wicked.
You'd be in Cats.
No, I wouldn't be in Cats. I don't like Cats.
It doesn't matter.
I'd be in Wicked if I had a choice. In middle school, when we went on the East Coast trip, they said, you're going to go see Wicked. And guess what they took us to see? Shrek the Musical.
That's better.
I was upset.
Really?
Yeah, I was, because I've wanted to see Wicked for a very long time.
That's fair. I would also like to see Wicked, but Shrek the Shrek the Musical is a fair substitute.
I guess. But it's there's green people in both.
That's true.
Yeah.
They were like, they're not going to know the difference.
Close a fucking enough. For these 8th graders,
it's
get
Alphaba,
them in there.
Right there.
That's Alphaba. Shut up.
I spit.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.